Welcome to holisticinvestment.in YouTube channel. We help individual investors like you to take a right financial and investment decision. Do you know sensex has delivered more than 15% annualized return since inception? How many investors have got that return in their portfolio? According to research studies, most investors underperform and get less than the market return. To demystify this, we have investment expert Mrs Usha Nair with us today. Usha, could you please explain why most of the investors always underperform the market?
Markets are about gain and pain. We often say this. I mean, when you talk about health, when you talk about physical fitness, there has to be pain for gains. There is nothing better that describes markets. When I say market, I refer to the capital market where we invest in the equity side of the business. This is, I'm going to take you through a couple of reasons why it is important to have this kind of a concept. Why in a session like this, I thought it is important to bring up certain aspects that we as investors, and this is not true. I'm not being judgmental here. I'm not saying I am above all of this or Ramalingam sir is above all of this. This is the way the human mind works. And we are ultimately a human who is taking a decision called investment decisions, which is part of my lot of things that I do in my life. This is a study of course, the US investor, but you have to remember they are a more evolved capital market. US mutual fund history is far longer than what we have. Their stock markets are far longer. They have a 200-year stock market history. So that means the investors have invested in the market far longer than the Indian capital market investor has done. Hence, the statistics, the data is quite useful for us to study behavior of an investor. What does the study show? In the 30-year period, 1992, which is also the period that India opened up globalization, India opened into the global markets, all of that happened. Inflation in the US, now, of course, you're talking about a very different level of inflation, but till 2021, for a 30-year period, the inflation in US was about 2.36%. And why do we always talk about investing? Our need to invest is to create wealth which will beat the growth of inflation. Your 100 rupees will have the value of only 105 in next year. So if I could buy something for 100 rupees today, I have to pay 105 next year for the same product, same bag of chocolates, same bag of onions, same 5 kg rice, if 5% is the inflation in that product. So your ambition is to say that, can I make 107 rupees? Can I make 108 rupees so that my 5 rupees inflation is taken care of and still I am left with something to meet my life's goals or my needs? Now, this is primarily the concept of investing and beating inflation that we very loosely use, and you will hear a lot about it. Now, that inflation number in the US has been about 2.36%. The US market, which is represented by S&P 500, where we consider the Nifty or the Sensex in the Indian market, in this 30-year period, has given a return which is about 10.65%. Not a bad return. It's a dollar return. So it's a quite good return. If I add the dollar depreciation and consider that for India, that number itself will be close to 15%. Definitely not a bad return to have made over 30 years. It's a fairly strong number when you consider that number, given the choices that you have. But an average equity fund investor has made about 7% return. And this may look, okay, still you have made 5% better. No, but please understand, losing or earning 3% less every year for 30 years is a lot of money. You can see that, difference. If you have invested, $100,000, the difference is pretty stark. $7,89,000 versus 20,82,000. So the difference of 3% over 30 years in your final value is more than $12 lakh. That's a lot of money. It's not a meager 3%. Now, why does this happen? So that means there is a difference between the return that I will say DSP funds have given 15% return. Ramalingam sir, when he talks to you, will say average equity market return is 16-17% return. But as an investor, it doesn't matter. What Usha says is the return of the funds that she manages or the fund house produces is not important unless that return comes in the portfolio statement, the account statement that you as an investor earn. And that difference is something we call as behavioral gap. So there is this good statement that does personal finance is more personal and less finance. The return I generate, I mean, not as an investment professional, but as an independent individual investor. I can see a name called Kalyan Datta on the screen. Maybe Mr. Datta makes or Tanashekaran makes would be very different. The reason is we all three of us invest in the same Indian stock market. We invest in the same mutual fund scheme. We have the same advisor in the form of Ramalingam sir, but our outcome could be quite different. It, in very simple words, all of us go to the same school, all of us go to the same tuition class, but the final results that we all end up making in the examination is very different. That is because how does the student study? How does he process? How much of work does he do at home? How attentive is in the class? Because the teacher's delivery is the same. The school curriculum is the same. The question paper is the same. But then why does the exam results become very different? It is because of the individual student's behavior that comes. The same applies when it comes to investing also. Just extending the data, you may wonder that that data is for US. Probably you may find that it may not be true for an Indian investor. DSP Mutual Fund is a fund house which has got 25 years of history. Our fund first scheme was launched in 1997. This year in April, we completed 25 years of existence in one scheme of ours. And then one or two will complete 25 years in 2023, 2024. So we have a couple of schemes that are definitely more than 20 years. 20 years is a fairly long period of time. And we have more than 35 lakh investors accumulated over the last 25 years. Our average investor, when we look at the return that we make, is in the range of 8.6. There would be some who would have made 12%, some who would have made 13%, some who would have made 5%. But I'm talking about a lot of data. 35 lakh investors who have come into the funds over the last 25 years, 3 to 4 funds which have generated returns upwards of 18, 19%, but an average investor's return is about 8.5%. And in the same period, the stock market returns is upwards of 14, 15%. There again, we are saying the return an investor has made, even though the fund house has generated return, even though the fund manager has done a fairly good job of generating 17, 18% return, the investor has not been able to enjoy it. Now, why do this happen, and what can you and I do? Why should you be aware of this as an investor? What can we do to make this number move up and make it better? Why does this difference happen? What is the primary reason? Why does investors in US, very different market, very different culture, they don't have this high interest rate or high FD culture like we have. They are not crazy about real estate the way we are. They don't buy multiple homes. They buy one home, they take mortgage, and they are happy. They don't have the kind of ambition that we have to pass on it to our next generation. Each unit family lives for themselves. The children fund their own education. That culture is very different. Our culture is still very, very different. But why, after such extreme differences in culture, still, when it comes to investing, the behavior is very similar? Why does he make 6% or 5% in a market which gives 10%? In a market which gives 15%, why do we make only 7 or 8%? Where is that commonality coming, in spite of being culturally so different as two different communities, two different social circles that we believe in? The reason is this. What is our evolution theory? I'm going back a few millions of centuries. Our fundamental attribute when we were evolving from the ape or the monkey to the human form that we have, we had one basic requirement. In that 4-legged state, and you can see the journey, we only had an ambition that I should survive in the wild. Morning, evening, night, I was a hunter. I had 2 things to do: save my life, provide food for me and my family. This was the instinct in which your brain, and I would encourage some of you who are interested, should read up about this. It is a beautiful science to understand the human behavior and how intertwined it is with your investing. You don't have to take decisions, but it helps us to understand what am I as an individual, what is my ancestors, what is my uh, region of evolution do to my decision making when it comes to money management. So if I'm a evolving man, 5,000, 10,000 years back, for me to sit in front of all of you and for us to have this conversation, actually our ancestors should have done one thing correct: protect the gene pool. That means if there is a noise in the jungle, you have to run from the noise. Standing there and trying to analyze what that noise is would not have left him to pass on the genes and to evolve to the state that you and I are there today. He would have got killed by the wild animals, whichever wild animals was existing. So that made you believe that when there is danger, fly and run and protect yourself, save yourselves. That is the only thing that I got 10,000 years back, 20,000 years back. From that, our brain evolved and we became the modern man that we are today. But then we have continued to corrupt our mind with all that jungle noises even today when it comes to investing, which is not needed. Because today you live in a protected environment. We live in houses. We are not living in the wild. We are not hunting for our food. That journey that has happened with billions of years of evolution has still not gone away from my mind. So what does it mean? The noise in the jungle, I ran. Today, a 10% correction in the market, I run. I call Ramalingam sir and say, sir, can you stop my SIP? Should I redeem from my fund? Should I go and invest in real estate? Do you think gold is better? So there I bring back the behavior of my ancestors, which is, oh, some noise is there in the stock market. COVID correction has happened. Will everything end? Will the world come to a standstill? Should I run away with my money? This question keeps happening. And that is where the behavioral aspect comes. So in that decision making, I am still the caveman of billions of years ago. I'm not able to disassociate from that behavior. It's important for you to be aware of it.
If you have any questions related to this or any other investment options or related to your financial goals, feel free to book a free appointment with our financial planner. The link to the free booking is given in the description below this video. Also, will you be interested to attend insightful investment webinars? Then feel free to register for our upcoming insightful enlightening investment webinar, and it is completely free. The registration link for the upcoming webinar is also given in the description box. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Also share it in your social circle. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel so far, please subscribe now. Bye.